Every real estate journey is unique. That's why we created the AOF Real Estate Team, a full-service solution built to support you at every stage. Whether you're building wealth through strategic investments, need hassle-free property management, or want to maximize your sale price as a Scott McGilvery trusted team, we've assembled all key services under one roof. First-time buyer or seasoned investor, our dedicated client success team ensures your experience is seamless from start to finish. At AOF, we make real estate simple, profitable, and stress-free. The AOF Real Estate Team, your journey, our expertise.
All right, everybody, welcome to the AOF Monthly update here for June 2026. My name's Kellen. I got Drew and Kev with me today. Gentlemen,
hey guys,
always a pleasure to chop it up with you here and chat about the market, what's going on statistics-wise, and what we're seeing from the boots on the ground here. So our normal statistician, Alona, unfortunately couldn't make it today, so we got Drew. Drew's going to carry the load here and deliver the news. What are you seeing, man?
Try to fill her shoes. So what we're seeing overall is the Edmonton market still remains healthy, but it's no longer a frenzied seller's market like we saw in much of 2024 and early 2025. Average sale price right now in Edmonton is $492,000. That's up 6.3% year over year, up 2.7% month over month. And then when we break it down to the four different types of categories, we got detached, semi-detached, row house, and apartment. The detached is up 4.8%, and we're sitting at $605,000. So up 4.8 year over year, up 2.6% month over month. So lots of strength in that category. The semi-detached, which was probably the strongest one that we saw last year, we're sitting at $433,000, down 1.5% year over year, but up 2.3% month over month. The row houses, they're sitting at about $310,000, up 0.9%, just about 1% year over year, and down 1.2% month over month. The apartments, which we saw some momentum gaining last year, they are sitting at $206,000, and year over year we're down slightly at 3.7%, and month over month we're seeing a little bit more of a drop, down 8.7%. For new listings, we're sitting at 4,855, which is up 2.7% year over year, and up 21.7% month over month. So lots of new listings. Kind of what Kevin was talking about last month with people recognizing that the spring market is actually here. Everybody decided to list at the same time. Sales are at 2,557, down 13.4% year over year, but up 3.2% month over month. The inventory, we're sitting at 7,844, which is a 3.1 months of inventory. Days on market for all categories is averaging 36 days on market, which is up 7 days from last year, which was at this time last year we were at 29 days on market. And for the price trend, we're very similar to the level that we were at late spring, early summer last year. So we were up in the spring, slightly down in the summer, dropped through the winter and fall, and we're back up to where that same price level was last summer. So what this means really is for sellers, the market is still favorable, but the pricing strategy is probably the most key thing that we got to focus on right now. Overpriced listings are sitting longer on the market, and they are the ones that are vulnerable to price adjustment. For buyers, this is probably the best environment we've seen in over a year. You've got selection, you've got a little bit of time to make a decision, you've got a little bit of negotiating power. And for investors, it's really interesting because this market, the fundamentals are still really strong. We're seeing a lot of stable rent. It's not dropping as much as it is in other areas of Canada. So the rent remains stable, affordability is still high, and we're continuing to see population growth in the greater Edmonton area. So what we can expect to see in June, I think it's going to remain stable. I think it's going to be a little bit more balanced than we've seen in the last couple of years. And while technically we're still in a seller's market, we're just more of a balanced seller's market rather than a frenzied seller's market like we saw last year. And
Great
that's it for the
job, Drew.
stats.
Great job. That might be the whole
Thanks.
podcast there.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, little nuggets that Drew said there. Definitely on the apartment side, lost a lot of momentum on the apartment condo side. And it seems like with the increase on the detached homes and average sale price going up, I think just a lot of people that were kind of thinking, hey, maybe I'm going to just park my money into apartment condo, play it safe for a little bit. They just decided to buy houses again. That's a very Edmonton thing. We kind of forgo that first home being a condo. We go straight into a half duplex or a single family home. It's extremely common here. So I think that's what I'm seeing, at least. The apartment condo, if you list it even at a good price, it's not a guarantee that it's going to sell. You kind of got to get lucky. So price is important, but also, what other marketing can you do? I know I've seen some of our listings. We're doing more drone stuff there, really showing the amenities nearby, really try to pull that buyer to that listing. So that's unique. But yeah, we've seen an influx of listings. There's definitely way more than there was a few months ago. So to me, if I was selling, Drew, you brought it up. I think the price, nailing the price is so important. Often sellers, they want to price some room in for negotiation, but I'd argue at this point, that's not really a smart play. Price it for what you think it's going to sell for. And we will, have a good realtor to negotiate the best deal for you. But like I think buyers are more educated than they've ever been before, and they know what's a good deal versus a bad deal. They won't even go see what they consider a bad deal. There's options out there, so you really got to dial in your price. Make sure you give yourself the best chance, because what happens when you give yourself 20 or 25 grand of room to negotiate, you get exhausted sitting there, your listing starts to get stale, and you end up taking less than what you were hoping for eventually. If it's sitting for 60 or 90 days, the sharks come out, they smell blood in the water, and they'll take advantage of that situation. So really taking advantage of it. The days on market you had mentioned, still really good. What was it, 36, 37 days?
36, yeah.
Yeah, that's still really good, but if you're not going pending in basically 2 weeks, then you're going to likely be on the other side of that average. So just getting things dialed in right off the hop is super important.
Yeah.
And I think like the rule that you taught me, Kevin, was, 2 weeks, 10 showings or how did it go again? 10 showings in the first 2 weeks. If you're not getting 10 showings in the first 2 weeks, you need to look at your pricing strategy, or you need to get it in front of more people. And that's really what we're seeing. It really comes down to, there's so many good marketers out there right now that if you're not paying attention to how you're marketing things, it's not going to get the attention that it deserves. Doesn't matter what kind of listing it is. Like, it seems like such a competition in the marketing piece of things now. And getting people through the doors is so key.
Well, I think too, and just speaking to that strategic side of the conversation, like in Kev, you talked about, price, very important. Obviously, everybody's got an idea of where they maybe X need the price to be, or Y where they would like to see the price. But looking at the comps, looking at the market now with the amount of properties that are on the market, there's just more competition there. And that's where, Drew, I think that point on the marketing side, like, okay, this is dual prong. Like, you have to have a strategic advisor being a strong real estate representative to help you along the way here. Because trying different strategies for different times and the different, market cycles. And this is just the relevant points to where we are at today.
Yeah, it's a constant battle too. Like, no one loves their home more than the people that currently own it. So they see more value in the property than anyone else will. They see every little nick in the floor and whatever was a memory with their kid growing up and stuff like that's value to them. Where for the new buyer, they're like, oh my God, the floor is destroyed. So just kind of trying to take the emotion out. And being logical in the situation is going to help you, take advantage of the current market and opportunities. And you just don't want to be one of the listings that's just kind of there and helping other listings sell. Like that's the thing that will drive me nuts, is if we price something that now we make everything else look like a good deal. We just helped everyone else out on the block.
Yeah.
So that's really, part of figuring out price. We're going to look at all those different factors.
That's good. That's a good point. Like you never, I guess I'm having the conversation kind of brings that to light, but just the strategic side is you're not trying to help your neighbor's house sell. You're trying to be the one that is going to be that choice for the buyer. So no, that's a really good way to frame it.
And Kev, you brought up, like, with the pricing, I don't think that this is the market where you want to try to edge more money out of your house than is possible, than what the market is willing to pay. Back 2 springs ago in 2024, 2025, you could afford to do that. You'd still get the attention because the inventory was low. But now that the inventory is higher, you got to make sure that you're getting in front of people early in that listing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah, and price could, change on a dime. Like if we get another month of another 20% of listings being added or something, well, that's a lot. And your price that you're like, I'm not sure if I would take, you'd probably be very happy to take in that scenario. So it's all relative though. Like you could also see things that actually make the market kind of start to go up as well if we get an influx of good news in the province and whatnot, and more people coming in. So it's kind of always going up and down, and that's why we like Edmonton's pretty steady. So you're not really having to, race to make decisions. You have some time, and nothing's going to be like really a deal breaker, I think, in the next few months. But if I was a seller and I've been considering trying to maximize the sale of my property, and am I thinking values are going to go up a lot or go down? If you want to sell, I'd probably sell now, than just wait and hope that things are going to go up, because like as that inventory sits, that's really going to affect the numbers. And I do think maybe, I know it's still pro seller, but we'll probably be more in a balanced market. And we're seeing that with our off market exclusive deals. We're getting some amazing deals from the builders right now, and we're leveraging our experience and kind of really grinding out the best deals we can. And some of these deals that we have are absolutely insane, like, so with stabilization packages and all that stuff. You have to inquire to find out more about that. I won't go into too much detail here, but the deals that we have, the offerings that we've thoroughly put together are really amazing right now.
Yeah, that's a good segue into that. And again, just thanks both of you for the points, feedback, buyers, sellers, the resale market, what we're seeing. And yeah, I think looking at a lot of the newer construction or the investment kind of focus projects that I would say a lot of people would know our team for, first and foremost, that procurement side and just the vetting of projects is always on the go. But yeah, just to your point, Kev, like right now, moving into the spring season and into the summer, some really unique opportunities that spent a lot of time on, strategically looking at locations, strategically looking at the product types, some really, I'd say, evolutionary construction as well, opportunities. So it's just, we've really had to, I'd say, just extra levels of care in regards to the conservative underwriting, looking at how these pencil out in regards to MLI Select financing or financing in general. Just with some things, the refinements that we continue to, I guess, live through with the evolution of the MLI Select and just CMHC financing in general. There's just, you need to be fluid. You need to be able to react is sometimes a bit of a heavier word, but you just have to be prepared to reshape, revisit, renegotiate, whatever that looks like, go to the table and still continue to find these opportunities. Because like you said, to your point earlier, Drew, on just, this is why we have helped investors be successful in the market. It's because we're not trying to time it at the highest times. We're not trying to take advantage of some limited, and again, I guess we might say MLI Select might be a limited opportunity. However, it is still something that is relevant that we can still help investors acquire properties with. But again, we're doing it in a stable market where the fundamentals still make sense. We have a really strong team to help support that. We have some fantastic contents to also help investors along the way through financing, through legal, through insurance, everything. However, it's not everywhere. It's not every single project that you're going to find citywide. It really has to be focused. And that's one of the things that I think from our experiences, we've gotten better and better. And that's just the evolution of kind of being to have that creative mind and approach to this.
It's almost like a gold rush. And what we've seen in the MLI Select is everybody coming out from all corners of the world, not just as buyers, but as professionals in that space, right? And we're hearing a lot of stories of people that have been put in a very compromised position because the person that they were dealing with maybe didn't have the experience that they alluded to, or I wouldn't even say that. Maybe it's just more that they had a lot of confidence in their ability to do it. But CMHC and the MLI Select financing is not for the faint of heart. There are changes all the time, and you really have to have a team on your side who can get ahead of the curve and understand what's coming down for rule changes, what's coming down the pike in general, and how to put that buyer in the best position for success. And we've been very fortunate to have, really strong team players in our corner to help us and help our clients get through that.
Yeah.
Good point. I think. Sorry, Cal.
Go ahead, man.
I'll just add, like, who you work with on those MLI Select deals make a massive difference. My clients that just closed on 2 buildings, this was their first time using. Oh no, sorry, it's second time using one of our preferred lenders that has a plethora of experience, and their experience went from someone who does MLI Select but doesn't do it often, doesn't have the relationships built with the underwriters or the appraisers, like all those different factors, like just having it so organized and set up that they didn't really have to do anything. They got the information they requested, and then that broker just went to work and got them, maybe I'll share it, but yeah, they got 5% down on both of those buildings. So they're super, super happy with how everything worked out. And the good thing is this just closed, what was that, now 2 weeks ago almost, and it's 80% full already, so they expect to be full in another week or so here. So they're super, super happy with how things have been going, and leaning into the right professionals, whether it's their property management or the financing. I find just doing a lot of these deals, the financing component, having the right setup there makes the deal either fun or not fun. And if you're chasing a lender down and trying to get answers and they ghost you for a week or something, you start freaking out. There might not even be a reason to freak out, but you're not hearing from them, so now you're stressed out. Where when you work with a team that gets back to you, is actually the one kind of checking in on you, it's a fundamental change on how that experience feels, and you just feel really looked after. So I can't emphasize that enough. Working with the right lender, obviously the right deals, the most important thing, but then a very close second is the right lender.
No, that's a good point. And even just not a counterpoint to that, but just to build off of it, is that our team is also there to support whatever comfort level that investor has, whether it is an existing relationship on the financing, the property management side. At the end of the day, the collaborative approach doesn't change who you're working with. But like you said, I think, Kev, like the big takeaway there is that we're also not sitting in silence just waiting for everybody else to do their job. It's not poking and prodding, but it's like, hey, we're doing this together. Success is, in essence, it's a team effort here. And so whoever that team is, we're open to just providing as much support to everybody to get across the finish line on that acquisition side, and then through the stabilization side, the management side if needed. Just the support, warranty, and services as well, especially on the new construction. Like, you need to have somebody here that is willing to be kind of, maybe boots on the ground is getting a little old, but I love the term because that's exactly what we are. We're here. For a lot of the clientele that is not in province, that is something that we will just continue to be. And phone calls, texts, emails, video calls, whatever, but we're live and active here. And so that support system, and it's not just the agent that they're maybe working with. Like, we have layers within the company, within AOF that, again, that's, you have multiple people in your corner to support you through the process and beyond. That might just lead us right into that AOF burning question that I got here today. So before we do that, like, is there anything else, I guess, Kev, you talked about, some really positive feedback on closings. I've had a couple with some clients here just in the past couple of weeks. So I was out actually doing some site walkthroughs on Friday with some other clients, and yeah, properties are looking awesome. It's, again, when we go through these different strategic phases of the locations that we have clients investing in, property management team starts working the fills, the applications, everything's going well there. So yeah, I think even right now, just we'll dig a little bit more into this, I guess, with the burning question, just because it's aligned. So, but getting those right professionals in touch with these investors, especially regardless of where they are. Local, you're in here in Edmonton, you're in Calgary, other parts of the province here in Alberta, or anywhere in the country, we're here to support. So let's that's my segue directly into the this month's June 2026 AOF burning question.
It's AOF burning questions. AOF burning questions.
How do you support investors through the construction process if they don't live in Alberta? So we've got, I'm sure we've talked about it before, but we've got what we call the AOF path to profit. So it's just that full cycle support system, regardless of new construction, resale, anything. You've got a team of support here. So I want to open it up to that. Like, this is a very pointed question into one of the stages of the path to profit. However, I think it's just a great way to open right up from what we call stage 0, which is the procurement and the vetting of opportunities, which can align to, on the resale side, is more of the strategic, discovery side of things. So. Well, I can take that on then.
Yeah.
Sorry, I guess I am.
Going.
No, it's all good. A lot of the, so again, from the, I would say, multifamily or new construction side, purpose-built rental side, I did speak a little bit about this earlier, but just directly to this question, like, there is a process in essence in going through this even right now with some builder developers that we're talking about projects for 2027, might be closing 2028. So just strategic land plays, trying to find the developments that not necessarily brand new in essence that we haven't had experience there, but some of them different municipalities, but a lot of the process and reverse engineering, even sometimes the revisions to the layouts, just evolving structural layouts in properties, even the builder specifications, so the style of materials that are used throughout the build. That's what we call our stage 0, where it's not active. It's not something that an investor would be able to really see. This is all the due diligence that are on the business development side that our team works on before we're even talking about, hey, does this pencil out? It needs to have a, there's not a number to it, but it has to meet all the boxes on that list, and needs to be able to pass that before it's even something that we'll start reviewing the numbers on to ensure that it aligns with essentially a successful investment for the client. But for, I guess, stage 0, on the resale side, like, what would that look like? Would that be more along the lines of just that discovery model with somebody?
Well, I mean, even before we get into the resale side, one thing that I want to highlight that excites me about the new construction side of things with stage 0 is that we've got a long track record of working with investors. We've got a long track record of working with property managers and builders, and we've really taken feedback. And I tell people about this all the time when I'm doing discovery calls, is we've taken feedback for 15 years on new construction. And it's not like we're going into this with blinders on or with eyes closed. We understand what tenants want. We understand what mix of components are important in that building for the longevity and, you know, not lack of maintenance, but for the
Durability.
thank you. That's the word I'm looking for. Durability in the end result, right? So now you've got properties that are 5 years old, 10 years old, and they don't look much different than they did when they were new because you've put durable products in there. And, you know, going back to my earlier comment about the gold rush, we're seeing a ton of numbered companies come into Edmonton as builders and building stuff. And we don't know what the quality is going to be like down the road.
A lot of lipstick. It's got a lot of lipstick. But
You've got to be really careful about this kind of stuff. Like you're investing millions of dollars into a project and you don't know what the end result's going to be.
Yeah.
And we've got a track record with these folks that we work with, and we can show you something that's 5 years old, what it looks like today. We can show you what something in the framing stage looks like, what something finished, brand new looks like. So, you know, that's what really gets me excited about the new construction side of things.
Yeah.
When it,
and-
go
sorry,
ahead, Kev. Yeah, no, go ahead.
No,
Keep on
I
that.
was just gonna say, like, one of the cool things is that we have in-house property management, and they also hold us accountable too. So because we work with property management, we're not going to just sell you something that is going to be impossible to rent, because then it looks poor on both sides of the company. It's mutually beneficial for our company to acquire projects that are obviously of great value to the client, but also easy to rent for our management team to make sure that it's always full, and get the top type of tenant profile that's out there. So we're constantly, I believe it's once a year or maybe it's twice a year that Shane is talking to the builders and reviewing the projects, bringing up feedback that we pass along on changes that need to be made. Could be something as little as a different size fridge in the home that tenants keep saying, hey, this fridge, it would look nicer if there's a bigger fridge in here. So went to the builder, the feedback was consistent. We got bigger fridges in the next project. So we're just kind of constantly tweaking things. It's an iteration style of community that we've built. We're not just saying this is it, just take it as it is. We're like, no, how do we make it better? And the other story I want to bring up is just like how us being proactive and getting the feedback from managers that they wanted the mechanical rooms to have access like separate. There's a frustration for the tenants in the basement that the upstairs would need to get in there if there was ever any mechanical issue or anything like that. And so we made those changes across the board with all of our various builders and offerings. And then MLI Select actually makes a change that says this is a requirement for these to be financed. So if we weren't proactive on that, we would have had a whole bunch of projects to not be able to be funded through that setup. So us being proactive and thinking kind of in the short term, but also the long term, really benefited us and the clients, and really dodged a troubling time for some other investors that were buying stuff that didn't have that, and then they had to pivot to different setups.
Yeah. So an indirect answer to the question is just the stage zero side. It's like we're thinking about things that investor may not even be thinking about. Where, location, we got that stuff covered. And again, the product, the quality, low maintenance, high durability, all those facets. And you said, Kev, like the lifestyle. Okay, feedback from a tenant now, that's going to put that tenant in more likelihood to be a longer term tenant. That's the goal here. So moving on, into the strategic due diligence side, and that's more of the stages one, really, is where we're going through kind of the stages of the acquisition, connecting that investor, if they need to have or are open to having a collaborative team that we have, again, the contacts with, whether that's the financing, the legal side, utility side, everything. Like we can help create that roster to help support that investor throughout the whole process. We have, if it's MLI Select specific, since the inception of the program in the spring of 22, like again, we've had a lot of experience, so we can help draw from that on who would be recommended, and even, you know, some whether they call it a recency bias or not, but just success stories, because we're having closings all the time, so we can talk about, okay, this lender was great there, this lawyer was great here. You know, some of those things, relationships can shift and change over the time, but again, our goal is much like a floor plan. It just needs to evolve. We need to make sure that the support system's there. So, you know, the due diligence side, I love calling it strategic due diligence, because it's not, okay, you made your commitment, here's your contract, get it signed, let me know when you're ready to remove conditions, or when you're ready to move forward. Like, there is a team supporting you as the investor throughout the whole process.
From going through the contract to introductions to industry professionals. And, you know, it's not a one size fits all either. We might send you to, you know, depending on if you're an in-town investor, an out-of-town investor, what size of loan you're going with. There's a couple of different options for you to choose from. And we just put you, you know, in the best position, and then enable you to make that decision on your own. But given all of the options that we've got, and here's why we believe this is a good option for you, right?
Yeah.
And you're free to stack them up against the option that you bring to the table. If you've got somebody else that you have wanted to work with, have a conversation with everybody and see who fits, see who asks the better questions. You know, like, again, it's not a one size fits all. It's kind of a choose your own adventure story.
Absolutely. And you got a support system regardless of what,
yes,
like you said, whichever page you flip to in that book. Like, again, you're going to have somebody in your corner there to support. So,
and you bring a good point that I keep not overlooking, but maybe glossing over, is you've always got a central team when you buy with us. You've always got a central team that you can count on. And these other folks are kind of ancillary puzzle pieces that fit together in the overall puzzle, but you've always got one group of people that you're working with consistently, from idea to completion.
absolutely.
To property management to
And
sale.
so on.
Right? Yeah, right.
Yeah. Yeah. And then that's where, like, this question was kind of specific to the construction side of things, because, you know, I think a lot of investors, even whether they're new or not, they kind of have some ideas about how things work. And it's like, well, if I'm not there, like, well, how does the construction go? I can't walk through. I don't know how to read, you know, construction plans. Like, how do I do that? And again, it's just the continuous support into that cycle now, where you're going through what we call like the pre-possession stage, even though that could be 30, well, resale side, that could be 10 days. For new construction, that can be over a year. And that's where, again, just you have a team supporting you through that stage of pre-possession. So doing, you know, plan reviews, going through the interior, exterior colors, doing site visits if you need photos. Like, I was just out doing tours in a couple different properties on Friday. These clients are local, so it was awesome to walk through their property, walk through a new property as well, like, just to show them the different stages. But like, that's, I guess for myself, I loved doing that when I used to work for a builder. So that's just, you know, it's kind of fun to get the boots on to do that again. But it is something, there's a large amount of value, because not everybody's a real estate agent. Not everybody has the experience in construction. And as an investor, you don't need to be a professional in all of these spaces to invest, because that's what our job is. And so, yeah, doing tours is awesome. I love sending photos, update photos from site. We do meet a minimum, I'd say, about once every 4 to 6 weeks with any kind of the builder representation, with the representation from the builder to get those site updates. And so we can keep everything apprised, which again helps ensure that the rest of the kind of checklists throughout the process. So making sure the financing's on time, making sure that your property management company is prepared, your utilities, the municipality, all of those things are where we can provide support. So that's how we support any investor. But as an investor out of province, that is something that we stand behind. I'd say that's really what we have kind of become known for, first and foremost, from the Investor on Fire team, AOF Alberta on Fire now, and again, as the companies continue to blossom. But that's what we kind of really, no, nothing's perfect, but that is something that we continually work towards improving. But I think we do a pretty damn good job of it as well. So,
And it's not just shoot from the hip. We've got processes in place to remind people, with the water meters and the utilities and the garbage
Yeah.
cans and all of that stuff that you're so miles away from thinking about because you've been through this year-long process of construction. And they're like, now I got to worry about garbage cans and utilities? No, we got you covered. Like, this is who you need to contact and what you need to talk about. And did you
Yeah.
know you can shop around for rates and all of these items, right? That just can fly over people's heads with no notice. And then your
Yeah.
tenants are without power. And we've heard stories of this stuff happening in the past, right? And we just don't want to put you in that position.
yeah. Well, I want to be conscious of the time here, and I hate to glaze over things, but to finish off our full path to profit, we've already talked about the property management. There's influence on the property management side, AOF Property Solutions, in every single one of those stages as well. But having that internal arm has just really kept that consistent support to investors. If it's the best fit for you, that is where the AOF Property Solutions team, I know, Drew, they might be stealing your comment here, but like probably one of the best in the business when it comes to new construction. Just, and it's not just like one person, or it's not just one part of that business. It's having a specific member of the team that's focused in on pre-occupancy walkthroughs and service, like having existing experience in the trades where it's like, okay, this person has an eye for a pre-occupancy walkthrough, communicating with the builder leading up to possession to make sure deficiencies are looked after. Those kinds of things are invaluable in your investment, because if those things are kind of brushed underneath the rug and they're missed, you can't get them back. You don't get that opportunity once you take possession. So having that team there, and then another aspect of the team is on the lease up side. Like, we have a very large roster of lease up agents that are going to help get these properties, getting them active, getting them shown quickly on those clicks, getting applications done. And that's just like the first stage of the property management side. Now we're talking about the long lifespan of ownership there, where it's going to have that consistent upkeep of the property, checking in with the tenants, ensuring that walkthroughs are done on the property, checking all the HVAC things are performing, but then also a huge proponent into why we have really loved new construction is ensuring that the warranty program is utilized, because that is feedback we've had before too, where things get missed. Well, there's a warranty program in place for a reason, and it's not unlimited forever as long as you own the property. Understandable. It's like any warranty on any kind of product. So you need to have a team that's not only I shouldn't say not only, but that is knowledgeable in that space, but also understands the limitations of that as well. And so that's where having a strategic partner on the property management side is invaluable, really. And then the last one, the sale. This is that full cycle. That's what we pride ourselves about being able to offer. Kev, I know, is it full cycle? Kev, what's the term that you love?
Yeah, I think it's full cycle real estate.
Yeah.
I don't
Full
know.
cycle
Warren-
real estate team. Yes.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Warren
Life
says
cycle,
it,
full. Yeah.
and whenever Warren says it, I'm always like, ooh, that sounds awesome. So
That's nice. Yeah. But that's where the path to profit from, well before an investor even sees an opportunity or hears about an opportunity, there's work put in there, and then that support system carries on, whether you're looking at, a short-term hold. Our strategic outlook on a lot of these opportunities is long-term buy and hold, and we're in it for the long term. Been around for 15 plus years now as a team. AOF has, for all of us too. We're committed to the long term, because that's how we know an investor is going to have the best success. So long-winded answer, but one I know we're all very
couldn't have
passionate
said it
about
any
talking.
better. Yeah.
Yeah. But okay, well, that's I think that's a wrap here. We've gone a little bit longer, but I just, again, appreciate your guys' input and insights. I love talking about anything going on in the market, but again, focusing on what we can do as a team to provide support to make real estate successful for anybody that's interested. So any closing
All right.
comments, gentlemen? Besides your matching blue shirts, I love it. Thank you for joining.
Great style, Kevin.
Yeah, you got great taste, Drew.
I missed the memo. Maybe next time. Okay, gents, have a great one.
All right, bye,
Thank
guys.
you, everybody, for listening.
take
Take
care.
care. See ya.
It's simple as 1, 2, 3. Everyone's got the recipe. Simple as can be. Trust in us and you will see. We make real estate easy. So easy, believe me. We're here to serve, give you what you deserve. All under one roof, that's our proof. It's still the last one to me.